different colors, but in this case, I'm not really fussed because we're going to be changing it to our beautiful color. So when you jump into these templates, you'll notice that they have multiple pages in them. So when you hover over something, it'll say 1 of 13. And then when you click into it, it'll show you all 13 designs. And then you can individually apply each particular design, add a new page, and then add the next design. Or you can just say, hey, apply all pages. I really like this. So just go on in and change them all to this design. So that's exactly what we've just done. And now comes the fun part, because normally within Canva, you would have to go in and change your background. You've got your color schemes in here. So you could say, all right, I want this. And now this doesn't quite match. So I individually have to really painstakingly edit every single one of these colors, then edit this font to my brand font, and then edit its color. And it just takes so much time. But luckily, you don't have to do any of that, because if you set up your brand color scheme and your fonts in your brand kit that we looked at earlier, you can jump into styles and say, hey, why don't I see what this looks like in all of my beautiful brand colors? And this is why it's good to have a few different versions of your color schemes, like this over here, where I've got some with black in it, some without, because sometimes it's just not right for a particular project I'm working on to have black in it. So I like having a few different versions, but once you find something that you really like this, for example, is something that's really quite nice, and I would just say apply that to all the pages, and it's just going to update the entire template to suit my particular brand colors, but with slight variations. So you'll notice that some of these slides are quite dark, some are lighter. So it is going to still keep it dynamic for you. It's not going to be this like blanket, one style for all slides sort of thing. But then you can do the exact same thing with your fonts. So I can say, hey, update this to my font and then apply that to all the pages. And suddenly you've just taken this design that was not branded to your particular branding at all, and now it's all branded for you. So there's such minimal amount of work that you have to then do to bring this in line with your own particular brand. And this is what I was talking about in terms of playing around with a few things inside of Canva. Inside of styles, you can also jump into just colors and just fonts and play around with a few different font combinations to see what it might look like. And same with the colors, you can say, okay, cool, there are some trending color palettes here. If you're not quite sure what your colors should be, this is a really great place to get inspiration. And you can continue to shuffle through things to find something that might suit, and you can actually do both at the same time. So it'll say, hey, these things are trending, why don't you try it? And then shuffle through it, and you might actually find something that suits your brand perfectly there. And a couple more things that I wanted to point out to you in the Elements tab. This is where you're going to spend most of your life within Canva, most likely. And you'll just be searching for something like pink beach, and then you can use a few things over here to narrow it down by what you're actually looking for. So if you're looking for photos or graphics or videos, and also you now have the audio function within Canva, but obviously Pink Beach is probably not going to come up with too much. Okay, I was wrong. Yep, there's definitely some audio functions and some songs that match this keyword. So that's pretty cool. But we are probably going to be focusing a lot more on the graphics side of things. And you'll notice that some things are static and some things are animated. So the static elements, you'll be able to edit your colors to make them match your brand. But with the animated ones, you're not going to have this option because it's basically like a video. You just can't really edit the colors of this to match your brand. So that's where you might want to get really specific with searching for things that are particularly within your color scheme. So in this case, I could say something like, okay, I want to look for marketing assets, or I could say social media assets, but let's say I want to look for marketing that are only white and animated. And then I could apply those filters, and it's not going to come up with anything. So let's try laptop. So I've had to remove the color white because it was glitching a little bit. But if I just say animated, then I can come up with any laptop graphics that are animated. You can also use the word white. So sometimes I just put in white as the keyword and then just make sure I'm toggling on animated so that it's not going to show me any static graphics, just animated ones, because these are really easy to fit within almost any color scheme. And yes, a lot of these will be on the pro version, but you'll notice in the bottom right hand corner, quite a lot of these are actually free because they're designed by Canva themselves. So don't be intimidated by it thinking that all of this is only available on the paid version of Canva, because that's certainly not the case. Okay, so one thing to be aware of is that unfortunately, at the time of recording this, it's a little bit more difficult to organize animated elements as it is to organize your different designs and photos and things like that. Because with photos, you can come in here and say, okay, I'm going to put this into a folder. So if I have a particular folder with assets, then I can add that in there. I can also add it to my likes. With graphics, they just don't have this capability yet. So another one of my hacks that is something that has saved me so much time is just to create one template that is just full of animated and static elements that you really like that are grouped together. So, anytime that you're searching for something and you find a particular collection that you like, so for example, these guys, if I was to search for it, I can also in the upper right hand corner say, hey, I want to see more like this. Is there some other elements that I can be using for consistency that are designed by the same creator in the same style? Because I know that these are animated elements, so I can't edit their color scheme. But if I can find enough of them that are quite similar to use in my design, maybe that's enough. So that's where I can come in here and go, all right, I'm going to create an entire document full of these guys that are designed in a very similar style, and then just have this in there and keep seeing more like this so I can find them all in here. I've already got this guy. I'm going to find this girl, and I'm just going to keep on adding this to this particular page so that I know that anytime I need to use these guys, all I need to do is come into this elements document that I have here and then Command C on a Mac or Control C on a PC, and then I can bring it into any design that I have within Canva by just pasting it in. So this makes it really easy for me to find all of my designs all in one place, and it also makes it really easy for me to edit them to be my particular color scheme. So you'll notice when you're looking for graphics, you'll be looking for something like a laptop as a graphic, and you can say, I want to see more like this. And you'll bring them in, but they're all going to be slightly weird colors. And again, it can take a long time to edit these all painstakingly one by one. So the easiest thing to do is just put them all on one page, go into styles, and then just hit your color scheme and get all of the different elements on the page to get really nice and branded with your particular colors with just one click. And then you can again copy and paste them into any design that you want within Canva. And the last thing I'll say in terms of searching for stuff within Elements is that at any point you can just untoggle the animated options and use .png to find graphics that are photos, but they're transparent background photos. So this can be quite a cool thing if you're looking for, things like flowers or I don't know, cauliflower maybe for your designs. And, I could say vegetables if I'm maybe creating a graphic for a health coach, and they've got awesome images with transparent backgrounds that also have a bit of a drop shadow, so you can't probably see it very well here. Let me just jump in here and create a new page so I can bring it in here. Let's make this white so we can see it a little bit better. And let's bring in our vegetable. So you can see that that is really nice, and it almost looks like a professionally taken product shot, but it's really just using free elements from within Canva. So anytime you want to find more of these kinds of elements, just put in the search term or the keyword .png and then whatever you're looking for. So in this case, it could be carrot, and it won't always come up with something, but a lot of the time it will. And it can just be something additional that you can do to your designs to make them a little bit different. So those are some of my beginner Canva hacks. And in the next lesson, we're going to go through how to work within Canva with teams and with your clients. So lots to cover there. I'm really excited. I hope you are too. And I'll see you in the next lesson.